Good day, everyone. Morning, afternoon, happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, wherever, whatever holiday you celebrate. Want to thank you all for joining us today with our continuing series on cleaning your project and maintaining your standards in Revit. This is webinar number 4 in the series, and lucky for everyone, not the last one. There will be one more following this. So it's gonna, in total, be a 5-part series. Today we are gonna cover a couple of tools from the BIM project suite. So what I will do is just recap everything. So as we know, if you've joined us for the last 3 sessions now, managing and maintaining your company standards across multiple Revit projects can be a very time-consuming and tedious process. You know, there are not a lot of tools out there that offer up the ability to do this, and the tools within Revit, while they do it, it's just not very effective and efficient. So maintaining project standards can be difficult to administer and to manage, to track. Again, standards are simple, just difficult to implement sometimes, and unfortunately tedious to work with. And nothing available at this point, or at least natively for enforcement of said standards, at least nothing that's extremely useful. Tracking this information can also be very difficult. So what we're going to do today is talk about how we can utilize Spreadsheet Link and View Creator from the BIM project suite to assist us with this process. So with that said, we'll just kind of get to it. But really what we're going to do today is we're going to review our elements from our data capture again, things that we have recorded from taking various snapshots of our models using Model Compare or Project Snapshot Exporter and reviewing the information. And then so today we're going to work on cleaning up a view and sheets, whether it's cleanup and creation for that matter, and then how we can manage some element work sets and various ways to handle those techniques. So with that, we're just going to jump right into it. I'm not going to bore everyone with PowerPoint details. So let's just go. All right. So I'm going to start in my Power BI file so that many of you have possibly seen before, if you've been paying attention and joining me. So this Power BI file is one of the template Power BI files that we supply with our projects, with our BIM data suite, sorry. And in this case, I'm reviewing the data captured using the snapshot exporter. Now, this can also be used with our model compare features. As long as you have our BIM data suite, you can convert any model compare file that you got out of the project suite and have it pushed into a SQL database and then referenced by our snapshot, by this Power BI file. So I've done a few things here. So we're going to check out a couple things for a particular project file that I've got. In here, we have the ability to, out of the box, we've set up one for views, right? So here, I can come through this list and find out the types of views in this model, and then all of the views that are in the list, right? So I can scroll down through here and I can start to find out that not all views are named accordingly. And if they have view templates even applied to them. So in this case, a number of them don't. So in fact, most of them don't, it looks like. So what we can do is, write that down, go to said project, clean up those issues. And one of the things that I did in this particular BI file is I created a new tab over here called Sheets which is effectively just a duplicate tab from views. And then I just switched up some of the parameters of these tables to record sheet info. And really it's recording any categorical field inside of Revit, but then I'm filtering it to sheets at the moment. And now I get the element ID, if that makes it easier for me to find it, and the sheet name and who created said sheet. So the point here being making sure really that the sheets are labeled accordingly and in the manner that we prefer, and then are they named, are they consistent, right? So if your sheet index by chance is showing a variation of how things have been named, we can clean that up now. And we're going to utilize a particular tool to assist with that effort. And maybe you look at another project and you notice that there aren't any sheets or not enough sheets, or you've noticed that sheet naming and numbering is kind of an issue because it's a very manual process, and you want to help create some of that stuff. So if you find that view names are way off and inconsistent with kind of the quote unquote standard that you've put together, and whatever naming convention that you prefer to use, we can utilize Spreadsheet Link and View Creator to help clear that up and get people started in their right place the next time around. So I guess what I want to do maybe first here is, I guess let's just start simple. I'm just going to start a new project. Actually, not with that. I want to start a new project. Oops. Using gosh, I keep forgetting where I put it. Using my starter file here. So I'll open it up detached. We'll do a quick save as, call it a day. But really what I want to do first and foremost is just kind of show you how Spreadsheet Link Spreadsheet Link and View Creator can assist you with creating the starting point of all your projects. So right out of the gate, I have nothing going for me here. The only thing I really got is basic, starting point. There's not a whole lot here. No views, hardly any sheets, right? So there's just not a lot going on. So what I'm gonna do real quick is show you how to create views based on the project that you're working, type of project and what you think you'll need. And then we're gonna go ahead and set up some sheets for that. Just so we'll start simple instead of doing that last, we'll do that first. So within I'm actually gonna pull this down so we can see it a little bit better. Within our project suite tool set here, we have Spreadsheet Link and View Creator, both as part of the dark green tools. These are the quote unquote licensed tools. So what I'm gonna do here is start with View Creator and create a series of views for us to start with here. Now, the first thing we have is levels. So we can start by building out the levels that we want to work with here. So if it's going to be more than a 2-story project, we can go ahead and do that. And if you don't like the way these are leveled or labeled, you can change that too. So lower level, main, second, third, fourth. I personally don't. I like doing it this way. Lower level, 1, level 2, and that is just me because I like having them, the numbered part showing up a little bit better. I've done various things, level 0 even. So, but I'm gonna add a level 3 and level 4, and then I'm gonna set these up accordingly. So I've got roof at 24, so this will be 24. And this will be 36. And then the roof is gonna be up at 48. 8, and this will be at 52. So now I've got this a little bit more aligned, and now I can hit create update, right? So it's gonna create 2 more because I added 3 and 4, and it's gonna update the other ones. So hit close, and then to verify that, I can go ahead and just close this down, switch to an elevation view. Boom, there's my other 2, right? And just because I'm picky, I'm gonna go ahead and touch these 2 up. There. All right. Step 2 now is to create the plans that I need to go along with this. So if it's just a brand new job, you can create all your new views, attach them, however many views you need per level. What types of plans do you want based off your view templates? And then again, based on phase. Is it a existing with demolition addition type deal, or is it all brand new construction? So in this case, I'm going to want new construction for sure, and then I can say I need a level 1 to lower roof 3 and 4. For my abbreviations, I'm going to go with 03 and 04 for this. And I'm going to want code plans, going to want finished plans, working. And then let's see here. I may need some export views. So it kind of depends on what you want to do here. And then for the naming goes, you can pick it however you want to do this. So you can rearrange this order and supply additional abbreviations as such. So I'm actually gonna just leave it as is and hit add. So if I go ahead and click create at this point, this list here is exactly how they're gonna appear for me. So 00 code plan, finish, floor, presentation, working. Then 01 and 02 and 03. So that's the format in which I like to label my views, and it also helps me get things in a good order. So I'm good with that. And actually, there's my general. Okay, so I'm just gonna hit create. So in a matter of 2 minutes now, and really it's quicker if I wasn't talking, I've created the 30 views that I need to begin this project. Okay, which is really quite slick. And because of the way I've configured my view templates and sorting in my project browser here, I now have I have them grouped accordingly. So my code plans, finished plans, and such. I can also now come back, switch it up, and do my ceiling plans, and effectively do the exact same thing. So I can switch this over, grab my RCP. Here's my template. Again, I need them for everything except the roof plan. New construction only. Formatting is good. I'll hit add. Here we go. Create. There. So in 2 runs of this, I now have all my floor plans and ceiling plans. So pretty quick and easy way of doing stuff here. So this is the way I like to go about setting stuff up. Now, to kind of continue with View Creator here, what I want to do next is switch to a project that might be a little messy, let's say, right? So there's a very fantastic chance here that elements are on the wrong work sets, and because people aren't necessarily always paying attention to those things. So what I'm going to do is make sure that they're all open first and foremost, and which they are. So now I'm going to give this a shot, see what happens here. So what I personally like to do is generate a 3D view or a few 3D views where I can isolate elements on a particular work set to verify that things are being organized and placed properly, because I'll often use my work sets for various visibility controls so that certain views instead of just hiding various objects by category and creating all these various filters and whatnot and getting way more in depth and complicated than I need to be, I could just turn off the work set potentially, right? Or I halftone, I set up a filter to halftone items on a work set if it's part of a different construction package, but I don't want to turn them off, or however you set it up. So in this case, what I'm going to do is I want to set up a 3D view for each one of these work sets. So, and then depending, and you can have it, it'll be labeled something like 3D existing, 3D new construction, or it might just be called new construction. So if there's a prefix or a suffix that you want to throw in here, go for it. And and maybe what I'll do is I'll set up, I'll just do one called coordination. Or let's do this. There, and set create. And it's going to run through, create each view. And then what it's supposed to do is isolate that work set in that view so that whatever objects are on that particular work set, that's what you're going to see in there. So fingers crossed, right? Let's hope that everybody has been following this correctly. So it's successful. I'm going to go ahead and close this. And now I'm going to go find my 3D views here. So we do this. There they are. So let's try that out. And this is what I get. So my interiors work set has a grand total of maybe one thing on it. So let me just okay. I'm gonna try a little thing here. I'm gonna switch this over to show me new construction as well. Okay, so this I know is not right. So you can see I've got a lot of work to do here. So I'm gonna undo that just to leave it alone. But basically the whole point of me showing you this was to show you that it can create the view sets correctly. Now, let's try the CAD links. Again, same thing. So this is the whole, let's just, so looks like, so yeah, it's just not doing what we want. So at any rate, so my model's a mess, which is good to, which makes me feel good. So, so I'm gonna go ahead and close some of this down to simplify a few things here. All right, so, but again, the whole point was to go ahead and utilize this to create the 3D views to allow me to do my job. Now the, let's see, the next thing you can actually do is help you midway through a project with some scope box cleanup here a little bit. So for example, if I've got my floor plans and such, and for example, area B, right? Oftentimes we want to make sure that we have things set up based off a scope box so that views are consistently sized. It makes it easier for view referencing and figuring out where certain things are supposed to be. And again, making sure that things are this consistent in size so that we have accurate representation on our sheets. Well, in this case, I don't have any of that stuff set up. And frankly, when I opened this, there wasn't even a scope box in here. So I had to create one. And you need at least one for this to work. So if we try to fire this up again, we have the ability to go to our dependent views area here. So if I switch to the appropriate construction package, in this case where we have things set up, it lists all the different views. Now here, it's only got the one scope box, but you see there's all this extra white space here. So what I can actually do is, force feed some information here. So what I want to do is just, I'm going to do some forced fixing on my end. This particular project didn't necessarily need it 100%. I just like a particular level of consistency. You can call me a Revit nut, at times. So here's what I'm going to do. Just to kind of show the whole piece. I'm going to create a couple of different scope boxes here. So and this one's going to be B, and then going to go to A. Do the same thing here. And again, this project is all probably far enough along down the line where it would be too late to do something like this, but I'm going to do it anyway, just because I want to, prove my point. Area A, and we'll just knock out the last one here real quick. There it is. Area C. Oops. All right. So back in the view creator. So I've got the different scope boxes laid out the way I want. So what I'm going to do here is, wrong button, this one. From phase one, I'm going to go ahead and set this up the way I want it done now. So in this case, again, I've already got these ones defined, as you now have seen. I'm going to go ahead and force my will upon this project. So first, I'm going to grab these guys. So I've got some views labeled as overall here, and those are the ones that are gonna get those checked. So anything that has overall kind of in the name, I'm going to force feed it. All right, so I can go through here and manually check these as I go, or what I can do is you have the ability to check everything that you've got selected. So in this case, let's see if we can't find those. And I want to then take this one, this one, and create. Let's just do this. Let's keep it simple. I'm just going to grab a couple. Just like this. We'll just stick to the basement to make it go a little quicker. And all right, so this is how I'm going to set it up for right now. Because again, this could be a lot to parse through real quick. So we'll just keep it simple. I'm creating what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 10, 13, 16, 22-ish views, I think I'm doing. And it's just, again, just to help you, if you've noticed that certain things aren't being done a proper way, or you want to ensure that your team is doing it the right way, show them how to use View Creator to either lay out, create all the different views and levels for the building, and take care of all the duplicates and assign to the appropriate scope boxes for a particular project. or for any project. Hey, I was right, it is 22. All right, so I did the basement view sets here. So let's go find them. So again, we already had them. I just did it again. And in this case, I think it was these ones. Yep, there we go. These are the ones that are attached to the scope box. And I know that because I can now see the viewport boundaries. They weren't disabled before, but now, so now they're here. So, oops, let's kill that. So the whole point is, again, to force feed some information here to make sure that we're getting the appropriate set of stuff. Now, one of the things that has happened in this situation now is it labeled these views a certain way. Now, the naming is correct because this is the format I told it to follow for the actual view name. But now the title on sheet's wrong, right? So now I've got 4 views that show basement level floor plan, for example. That's not going to print very well and could potentially confuse a few people. So we got to clean that up. So I can now do this again manually, one at a time, but I potentially have 20 views to do that to now. Well, if I would have gone through the entire project, I might have 100 views to do that to, or more. So what we can do is start taking advantage of another tool that we have, Spreadsheet Link, to start updating some of that information. So let's start with views here. And we can start accessing some of that data and manipulating it as we see fit. And it can either happen right here in front of us while we're still in Revit, or I can save this out to an external file, give it to somebody else to make the changes and load it back in at a later date. Or if you're just better at working with textual type stuff in Excel, do it yourself there. So let's see, I've got views. So we're gonna want the view name, right? That helps. We're gonna want the title on sheet and anything else that you potentially are gonna wanna mess with. Maybe we need to start updating scope boxes, or maybe we wanna check phase and phase filter, right? So depending on, there's all kinds of different things we can do at this stage to help clean some things up. Is there a view template applied, right? We got to make sure that it's getting the appropriate templates. That can also be something to work on. So detail levels, I could go on. So we'll just stick to this. And I have my preview here now, and this is actually also a working view. I can actually take care of certain things that I've done with this. So we'll start with some of the rename stuff that I had done. So I'm actually gonna go ahead first and adjust my sorting here. So I can sort by view name, and then yeah, we'll just leave it at that. All right, a little bit easier to see. So here we go. Here are some of the ones that I just got done working with here. And some of these the ones that don't have the scope boxes are the ones that were already there. These ones are the ones I just got done making. But I want to update these view names. So what I can do here is just directly edit right within the cell, area A, and you know what, let's make it right. Area B, area C, right? Match up with the scope box. Again, I can come down here and do the same thing. I've got the title on sheets down here. A, B, see. Okay, so right out of the gate, we've taken care of some of the naming aspects. Now, maybe I want to take care of some of these other issues where I need to update scope boxes. So for example, maybe we want to take, well, I think I hit some of these already. Here, let's do this one. Oh, locked cells. So I need to unlock some of this. So at times you'll find out that certain cells can't be modified, right? And that's because there are certain things that should never be modified. For example, these salmon colored cells, those are project and element ID info. We don't want to touch those ever, right? We want to reference those potentially to find certain elements in our projects, but if we change that, we're going to break stuff. So we try to lock this up a little bit by default, but sometimes we need to get past it. So you can actually unprotect these worksheets. And the password is already entered for you. All you have to do is hit unprotect and away we go. If you have messed with that in the past, sorry, don't mess with it. But really what it boils down to is that it's the default password is just password. So I'm going to edit a couple of these here. Oops. All right, and we'll get some feedback on those as we get going here. And then if we peruse on down the line, we have the view template. This is a big one for me. Like, view templates are huge in maintaining consistency across your various drawings. So making sure that the right view templates are being used, to me, is critical. So you'll want to make sure, entering the appropriate information in here, or verifying that this right stuff is being used, is very important in my opinion. So I don't remember any of the template names off the top of my head, so I'm not even going to attempt at getting it wrong. But what I will do is, well, I'll just hit apply. So, and since I've only got the one worksheet, I can hit apply active. We'll hit yes, and it's processing through. It doesn't have a ton of stuff to update because I didn't update a ton of stuff, but it's gonna do what it needs to do, thankfully, and it'll give me a nice little report showing me what elements were updated, what was not updated, and if there were any errors. So that should be happening relatively quickly. Well, I guess I changed more than I meant to. And I'm sure many of you have seen videos or webinars on the various functions that Spreadsheet Link can help you with, and this is only scratching the surface. I have used this in the past to help me with swapping out generic annotation families, where we had a bunch of them that came in that said keynote family, or what it was, a keynote floor plan with the number 1 or number 2 at the back end. And that was from transferring data from project to project. And if you're not aware, when you try to replace those with the appropriate families, you oftentimes lose out on any instance values that were programmed into it. So in this case, we can utilize Spreadsheet Link to help us, create a report of all of the various generic annotation families like that and their values, save that report, go back to our project, make the replacement or the swap of the family, lose all that info, and then go back and make the adjustments. So I broke a couple So, but yeah, so that's the idea. You can view the log and see what it didn't like and what was successful. Oh, I typed it in wrong. That's great. So, yay me. But what I want to, actually, that's kind of nice because now you got to see the report. And then again, you can save these settings for later on if you want to process into another project file and do some renaming, reviewing of data there. So I do recommend saving some of these things so you're not constantly reinventing the wheel. You can save them out to their own separate files, stored wherever you prefer. And I'll just go ahead and put them in the same spot I've been doing all this other stuff. Let's see, project cleanup. Save it there, and now I can use it on the next project. So yeah, the final thing I wanted to show you guys today is with Spreadsheet Link again, but back kind of to the project kickoff area. So I've gone through this particular one and created all these different views for me, right? Well, now I want to use Spreadsheet Link this time to help me set my sheets up. Okay, so if you remember, this one had next to nothing, right? It's got a placeholder, right? Very nice, simple title block, but nothing to write home about. So I've got my one title block here. I got my sync to central view. I've got my my general sheet, but I need to place everything else. And depending on the project, there may be differences on what the series of sheets that you're going to need to include. You may have to generate placeholder sheets for the other disciplines that are still utilizing AutoCAD. There's various things that need to happen here potentially. So what I'm going to want to do is set something up that has the sheet name, the sheet number. We're also going to want to put the appropriate sheet set order in here so that it organizes itself appropriately, right? And then let's see, where's that sheet set order? It should be here. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and do that. And then if you want to fill out anything else, you go right ahead. So Spreadsheet Link, I'm going to go to let's go down to our sheets. Oh, I haven't saved yet. I should probably do that. Dun, 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 dun. That always gets me with some of these tools. I always forget to save. I get ahead of myself so easily. And call it final 2020 project. Who's ready for 2020 to be over, huh? Anyway, let's do this. All right, so project created. Project saved. We'll do that final sync just in case. Good practice. And Spreadsheet Link. Let's do it again. Sheets. All right. And we're going to want number, name, sort order, and then anything else that you think is worth managing and putting in here at the moment. You know, if there's approved by, checked by things that you need to do, if you're adding sheets, say partway through a project because you didn't have enough and you've got other customizations going, go ahead and add that stuff, right? You know, if there's, you know, drawn by, checked by or approved by if you do that kind of thing, or if you need to start entering in some other issue date values and construction packages, go right ahead. And I think I'm going to call that good. Now, what we can do here is use this to create new sheets. Okay, so how many do I want, first of all, and then which title block do I want to use, and do I need placeholders? So in this case, I'm going to go with, let's say, let's just call it 30 for now. These are going to be usable sheets, so I don't want them, quote unquote hidden, right? So I do want these to be active. So I'm going to hit create, and it's going to generate line items for all of these. Now I get the ability to set them up. So if it helps you to run them down like this, just so you have line items for them, great. You can do that, and then begin the process of labeling these. If this is going to be my sheet, sheet index, great, and it's part of the general. And maybe we'll call this notes and abbreviations, right? Kind of, what do you need these to be? And then how do you label your sheets? Well, I typically start at a, not 199, but a 100, and which will be lower level. And then we'll do 100A or 0.1 or 0.2, if you have dependent views. I'm going to do point A, and then B, C, D. All right. Didn't like me there. B, C, D. And then lower level on those. A, B, and so on. I mean, I could fill this out forever. I'm not gonna do that. I'm just gonna do a couple more. I want these part of my, there. I want these part of my architectural set, but maybe down here somewhere I'm doing my interior sheets. So, and I don't, some places they're still part of the architectural A package, right? But you don't split those out. Sometimes you do. And whether it's an A or I've seen them labeled as an I, it doesn't always work out that well because it's hard to read sometimes depending on what your font styles are. I'm just going to call it FFE plan. And again, we'll just run through those like such. One more, please. Thank you. And just to keep it and I'm gonna change this to be a different value. Interiors. And because this is just a textual category, I can type in whatever I want. So, and maybe it's not 05, maybe it's a different one. I'm just gonna leave it at 05 Everybody will have something kind of separate and done on their own. And I'm gonna go ahead now and apply to my project. So it's gonna go ahead and create these sheets with the right names, appropriate groups. I didn't touch one of them, so that's good. Oh, that my reference one I didn't touch. So we're good. And if I go back to the project now, I'm not gonna save them this time. Here they are. It created all the sheets for me. It labeled those as accordingly, and then it also created a new category for my interior views. Now, depending on how in depth you would like to have something set up, you know, maybe you're a structural firm or an M&E firm. You are constantly working with other various architecture firms and following their standards as far as sheet naming and labeling conventions. So you could have effectively save out some Excel files that are constantly creating new setups that match those settings, so that when you start a new project, you can fire up Spreadsheet Link, load up those sheet creation settings, and apply them to the project based on who you're doing the work for. So you can have, you know, if you've got 5 various firms that you work very closely with on a regular basis, you can have 5 different setup files going to get your team started off on the right foot every single time. So it can make beginning stages of a project a little bit easier on everyone, but it's also now following the standards that you've instituted, and it's making it easier for everyone to follow said standards. So that wraps everything up for me for today. So I'm gonna go ahead and open it up for questions now. So in the questions panel for the webinar, feel free to go ahead and start lighting me up with questions if you've got them. Otherwise, there is, like I mentioned earlier, there is one more webinar coming up for this one. It's part 5, and in that webinar, we're going to be talking about Project Processor, which comes from the BIM batch suite. And we'll kind of close this off and put an end to our multi-part webinar series on cleaning and maintaining your projects. So let's see what we've got, if anything yet. Nope, not yet. So if we don't have any questions, we can shut it down at that point. I'm going to stick around in case anybody does have a question for me. But if you don't have questions and you want to take off, feel free, go ahead, get your lunch. I want to say thank you all for attending. I appreciate it. And happy holidays to everyone that has come, and hope everyone has a safe end of the year with your families. So thank you. All right, well, doesn't look like anyone's got any questions. So I'm gonna go ahead and end the webinar. If you do have questions, you change your mind, or if something comes up, please let us know. So you can send an email to us at feedback@ctcsoftware.com, and they will forward those questions to me, and I will make sure you get a response. Thank you all for attending again, and happy holidays.